Hello, my name is Darian, and today I'm gonna talk about the task number 7, where I had to choose two topics and talk about them. So I'm gonna start reading my report. I'm gonna start with the introduction. So let's get started. Introduction. There are countless differences between British English and American English. In fact, it's considered that there are more differences between words than in pronunciation. Since in the United Kingdom we call flat what is in apartment in the United States. Therefore, these differences have caused furor and controversy not only for English learners, but also among their native speakers, where even Americans call their English as the unique and original, when in fact it has been evolved from the UK for independence reasons. The variation of accents also derives different dialects, when only the United States it is said that they have different dialects between their own states, and within their states there are other sub-dialects, creating a mass of dialects in a single country, but which also exists dialects from other parts of the world, counting an estimated 160 different dialects among them, the most notable being the dialect of the United States, the United Kingdom, and Australia. The objectives for this report are: know the different dialects of the English language, recognize that there are dialects in a single country and so dialects within this same, and being able to identify the difference between British English and American English. So, American and British English differences. First, I'm going to start with the history of the English language. The British actually introduced their language to the Americas when they reached these lands by sea between the 16th and 17th centuries. At that time, spelling had not yet been standardized. It took the writing of the first dictionaries to set in stone how these words appear. In the UK, the dictionary was compiled by London-based scholars. Meanwhile, in the United States, the lexicographer was a man named no.7. Allegedly, he changed how the words were spelled to make the American version different from the British as a way of showing cultural independence from his mother country. In terms of speech, the difference between American and British English actually took place after the first settlers arrived in America. These groups of people spoke using what was called rather speech, where the R sounds of words are pronounced. Meanwhile, the higher classes in the UK wanted to distinguish the way they spoke from the common masses by softening their pronunciation of the R sounds. Since the elite, even back then, were considered the standard for being fashionable, other people began to copy their speech, until it eventually became the common way of speaking in the south of England. So, the vocabulary differences. The Americans and the British also have some words that differ from each other. The table below lists some of the everyday objects that has different names, depending on what form of English you are using. So first I'm gonna say the word of British English and then the American English. So the first word is trousers, pants, flat, apartment, bonnet, the front of a car, hood, boot, the back of the car, trunk, lorry, truck, university, college, holiday, vacation, jumper, sweater, crepes, chips, French fries, trainers, sneakers. Visit drink, soda, bus, mailbox, biscuit, cookie, chemist, drugstore, shop, store, football, soccer. Then we have the grammar differences. Aside from spelling and vocabulary, there are certain grammar differences between British and American English. For instance, in American English, collective nouns are considered singular. The band is playing, for example. In contrast, collective nouns can be either singular or plural in British English, although the plural form is most often used. The band are playing. So the British also more likely to use formal speech, such as shall, whereas Americans favor the more informal will or should. Americans, however, continue to use gotten as the past participle of get, which the British have long since dropped in favor of got. Needing, which is commonly used in British English, is rarely, if all used in American English, in its place is don't need to, which is more common in foreign learners. In British English, at is the preposition in relation to time and place. However, in American English, on is used instead of the former and in for the latter. Dialects of English in different parts of the world. The English language has several dialects around the world. It is estimated that there are about 160 dialects from English, each of them with different words and pronunciations depending on the country of origin. Therefore, knowing each of these dialects, at least the most recognized, it is very important when learning English. The best known dialects are American English, British English, and Australian English, which is characterized by being the most difficult to understand due to its great difference between pronunciation, which is the Australian English. What is an English dialect? The widespread expansion has witnessed the language evolve from standard British notation to a diverse range of different words that have become part of the language with time, just like other languages. The specific aspect of English relies heavily on the region that it is spoken in it. This division of the delivery of the language is referred to as a dialect. Dialects are massively impacted by the first language of the local population. The specific way of delivery over time in a certain region gets to be known as a dialect. Some of the most commonly spoken dialects of English include those from places like Australia, the US, UK, India, Kenya, Jamaica, and beyond. The dialect in those regions personalizes the delivery of the language by integrating specific cultural phrases and words into the language that are not distinguishable to outsiders. These dialects often vary within different areas of the regions to involve into the dialects. For example, in New York, people don't speak the same way as in Massachusetts. So how many different English dialects are there in the United States? Geographers and social scientists estimate there are 7 main groups of dialects in the United States: Western American English, North Central American English, Northern American English, Midland American English, Southern American English, New York City American English, and Northern New England American English. Of course, there are many more, as many as you can count. Each group has its own sub-dialects, and it all depends on where you place the thin dividing line between languages and dialects, as the difference of the two is politically related. Every single country where English is spoken in some capacity has its own different dialect of English language delivery. This primarily exists thanks to the tendency of humans to personalize the delivery of what they want to convey closer to the accents from their first language. So, as a final, we have the conclusion. For a learner of the English language, the amount of different dialects around the world can be confusing. However, not knowing these dialects will not prevent us from communicating fluently. Considering that when speaking with strangers or people from other countries, we automatically forget our dialects or accents, or at least we try to imitate the natural accent of English in order to communicate effectively. Despite everything said above, it is necessary to know and be able to identify the accents of the English language, to be able to use resources belonging to the accent or dialect, and to improve communication with other people. Thank you.